The biggest story, the biggest controversy now that has emerged with the 30 investigators, in Wasilla and the rest of Alaska, seems to deal with the firing of your ex-brother-in-law. Big issue in Alaska. Even news this morning that the Attorney General said no, these subpoenas are not going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. What is your version of the story? My
ex-brother-in-law is an Alaskan state trooper, and he's never been fired. He's still an Alaskan state trooper. We have two different issues going on here. Two different issues. One is a cabinet member, my commissioner of the Department of Public Safety, who had some strengths in some areas, insubordinate in some other areas, as we tried to rein in budgets and tried to find efficiencies in departments, and he wasn't willing to go there with his department. But his strengths in another area of public safety, I recognize that it was my responsibility, my obligation to make sure we had the right people in the right places at the right time in the cabinet to best serve Alaskans. So I asked him to transfer into another position, and he chose not to be transferred, so he left state service. That's one issue. It had nothing to do with a former brother-in-law, a state trooper who happened to have been married to one of my sisters until about 3 years ago. I asked the personnel board, even in the state of Alaska, if they had questions about why it was that I exercised my responsibility in replacing our commissioner. I asked the personnel board, that appropriate board to oversee such actions, to come investigate, and that's where it is now. Hopefully it's the personnel board looking into this, and it's not this obsessive partisanship that seems to have kind of captured the issue.
Well, one of the person was one of the local officials up there, state officials, was talking about this being a big October surprise. There was also talk about he admitted to tasering a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old child.
He did. This trooper tasered my nephew, and he tasered, well, that was, it's all on the record. It's all there. His threats against the First family, his death threat against my dad, all that is in the record. And if the opposition researchers are choosing to forget that side of the story, well, they're not doing their job.